Good morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube. Welcome aboard on this week's adventure. Today I'm going to try and get back out to the Lusitania Wreck Site. Now the weather is blowing sort of 10 to 12 knots, and whilst I'm in the harbour it looks nice and flat. Once I get outside Roach's Point, where we saw last week, we'll make a decision once I get further out. It's probably going to take me maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours to get out to the wreck site. So join me along for the run and we will catch up later. As you can see, it is a little bit bumpy, but we're at the entrance to the harbour, so we have the tide is on the way out at the moment, and there's a wind coming towards me. So we're getting this wind over tide situation. So what I plan on doing is keep on going, and we'll make a judgment when we get further out. It might flatten out once we get outside the mouth of the harbour. As you can see, it's a little bit rolly and a bit lumpy, but we'll pick this up once I'm outside the harbour entrance, and hopefully it will have flattened down a little bit. I don't know how well this is coming up on camera, but we have some lumpy seas here, and I think once again the weather is conspiring against me. Either that or someone or something doesn't want me to get out to the Lusitania. Anyway, as you can see, it's very bumpy and very lumpy. I don't think it's going to happen today. I think it's foolhardy to keep going. I think we'll head back into more sheltered waters. I think it's the right decision today. As you can see, I'm out of the harbour now, and Roach's Point will come into view very shortly. Just in front of us there now. So I think it's a right decision today. The seas are quite lumpy, and it's foolhardy to go any further. Okay, I'll pick this up when we get into more sheltered waters, and we can talk a little bit about the Lusitania and its history. And maybe tomorrow, if the weather is a little bit calmer, we might be able to try and get out to the wreck site. As you can see, it is a bit nautical today. Just took a wave over the bow. Okay, we're in out of the wind here now, and what I'm going to do is throw out the anchor, and we'll have a little chat today about the Lusitania and some of its history. So just let me get sorted here, and let me get the anchor out, and we will pick it up from there. Okay, we'll just let the anchor sit for a minute, and I'll just reverse down on the anchor, make sure it's holding. Let me just go forward and check the line. Yeah, it's definitely stuck. Anyway, here you find me in a nice quiet anchored spot at the base of Charles Fort here in the harbour. Today's video is obviously meant to be about the Lusitania and getting out to the wreck site, but it's just not possible with the weather. This time of year, it's very difficult. Anyway, getting back to the Lusitania, the race was on to gain dominance of the Atlantic crossing. In the late 1890s, Norddeutscher Lloyd and the Hamburg America Line, two German shipping companies, had built fast and luxurious ships such as the Kaiser Wilhelm de Gross and the Deutschland, which threatened to put an end to the British dominance of the Atlantic. In 1902, Cunard retaliated by planning the commission of two ships which would be the largest, fastest, and most luxurious ever built. After serious negotiations, Cunard placed orders with John Brown and Company to build the Lusitania. Before construction would begin, there was a problem of finance. £2,600,000 would be needed to build the ships. Negotiations began between the Cunard Line and the British government. Cunard wanted to secure a loan repayable over 20 years at low interest. Indeed, in the spring of 1909, her three-bladed propellers were replaced with four-bladed ones to give her extra speed. Lord Inverclyde discussed the Cunard agreement with a committee of experienced engineers in September 1903 to establish what was needed to fulfill the contract. Leonard Pescott produced the preliminary designs for the two ships, and careful consideration was given to the layout of each. Most of the machinery was installed beneath the waterline. The original plans gave each ship 3 funnels, but the final plans gave 4. The Lusitania departed from Liverpool, bound for Queenstown, at 9 p.m. on Saturday the 7th of September 1907. She was commanded by Commodore James Watt. A crowd of 200,000 people had gathered to see her departure. She arrived at Queenstown at 9:20 a.m. the next day and took on passengers. By 12:10 p.m., her passenger numbers were 2,320. There were high hopes that the Lusitania would win the Blue Ribbon, but it was not to be. The Lusitania arrived in New York on the 13th of September 1907 after completing the crossing of the Atlantic in 5 days and just under 2 hours, thus just missing out on the Blue Ribbon, then held by the Deutschland. It was reported by the Daily Telegraph's New York correspondent that scores of wireless messages were received from the Lusitania to say there was a great deal of betting in the smoke room regarding the maximum miles covered in a day. The Deutschland had the record of 601 miles, and the Lusitania managed on its best day 593. At New York, hundreds of thousands had gathered to see the arrival of the largest ship in the world. She arrived at Pier 56 and received a warm welcome. May 1915 had proved to be a busy month for the Germans. Captain Walter Schweiger was in command of the German submarine U-20. His mission was to seek and destroy enemy vessels. He had already torpedoed and sunk 3 ships, the Earl of Latham, the Candidate, and the Centurion. Fuel was running low on the U-boat, so Schweiger decided not to head for Liverpool as originally planned, but to head back home. It was inevitable that the U-20 and the Lusitania would pass each other at some point in the Irish Channel. On the 7th of May 1915, U-20 was still patrolling the Irish Channel. At 1:20 p.m, the captain of the submarine wrote in his log, "Starboard ahead, 4 funnels and 2 masts of a steamer with a course at right angles." When the Lusitania was in firing range, he fired a torpedo which hit the ship. Okay, I'll just pull up the anchor and we'll mosey on.
All stations, all stations, all stations. This is Valencia, Cork, Galway and Mizanet Coast Guard Radio. Lead you small craft warning. Listen Valencia channel 62, Cork channel 02, Galway and Mizanet channel.
We'll just listen to the forecast here.
All stations, all stations, all stations. This is Shannon, Bantry, Valencia, Cork, Galway and Mizanet Coast Guard Radio. With a small craft warning issued by Metere, March 7th at 11 o'clock. Southerly wind will reach 4-6 or higher at times today, Saturday on Irish coast from Mizanet to Edinburgh to Belfast. All stations, this is Shannon, Bantry, Valencia, Cork, Galway and Mizanet Coast Guard Radio. Stand by monitor channel 16 and all associated working channels.
Thanks for joining along with my adventure today. It was a little bit of different. It's a bit of a mixed bag. As I say, the weather was against me today again, so I filmed a bit of content around the place. So anyway, listen, look forward to seeing you all next week, and don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and see you again.